Zeekr's unconventional lineup currently includes a large luxury MPV, small SUV, mid-sized saloon, and a 5-meter long shooting brake. It's about time they did something a little bit more ordinary, and they finally have. This is Inside China Auto, and this is the Zeekr 7X. Yes, this is the Zeekr 7X, and great news if you're in Zeekr markets that are not China. This car is coming to you in 2025. So Australia, Europe, Thailand, I believe, this car is coming to you. UK, as and when you become a Zeekr market, this is almost certainly going to be on the menu. And as you can see, it's very much a kind of a jacked up version of the 007. You get the same hidden energy design language with fluid surfaces and sharp creases. It looks very purposeful and lithe. All 7Xs come with a Stargate grille across the front. It's bigger than that on the 007, 1,831 LED units in there. In foreign markets, you might not get this because I don't believe that it's legal in other markets at the moment. But let's see whether that changes before this car does go abroad. Here in China, rather than having a grille on your car, you can customize this to have the design that you want. So it looks like you've got your own headlamps on there. You can literally design stuff on the system settings inside the car. It's a very lithe car. We get active aero there down at the bottom, and round at the front here you'll see we do get the clamshell bonnet design as well from the 007, something quite unique to Zeekr. It's very stylish in this market. Under here we get a 44-litre frunk on the dual motor versions of this car and a 60-litre frunk on the single rear wheel drive motor versions of this car. Now this car does look quite lifted. It actually gets higher than this because you get air suspension with 70mm worth of adjustment in there. So this car does really look quite jacked when it's lifted up to its highest setting. We also get down here 20-inch alloys with Akebono 4-pot brake calipers in there as well in luminous orange colour. They're a bit smaller, these wheels, than those on the 007, but they still fit the car pretty well. You'll see we've got a bit more sidewall on there and a super chunky tyre as well. Very wide because this car does have some off-road prowess. We'll talk about that later in the video. Now look up here at the top of the windscreen, you'll see we have a LiDAR unit. All versions of the 7X come with a LiDAR unit because by the end of September these cars will be available with NZP, which is Zeekr's autonomous driving program that can also do urban settings. As and when we get the chance, we'll give it a go. Now, it's a very sleek car along the side. We get kind of frameless mirrors here, not a lot of chrome, just a little bit at the bottom of the door there. We've got blacked out trim around the window there, and very sleek windows here. So they've got kind of rubber settings in there that make it super smooth across the side to maximize those air efficiency gains. We also get here pop-out door handles for the same thing. They're kind of inductive, so you can literally just touch it and the door opens. On the high-end versions of this car, and again, this won't be available abroad, you get electric doors. You can literally press here and the door will fully open for you. I'll show you a clip of that over the top of this one. Same for the rear doors as well. So it's very stylish, very smooth down the side. Again, some gentle creases, looks very purposeful. And towards the back, you then get this kind of floating C-pillar design, the same one that you get on the 007. At the back, we get very similar styling to that on the 007 again. So we get the kind of full width daytime running light across the back there, very thin, narrow strip of light. What we don't get is the wavy pattern underneath that was quite attractive on the 007. Maybe doesn't work on an SUV quite so much. But because this is an SUV, we get a big spoiler up here with a concealed rear window wiper under there to keep your back window clean. And we get Zeekr lettering here lit up under the glass there. We also get an electronic tailgate, of course. And in here, quite a big boot space. You can get 3 times 28-inch suitcases, 2 20-inch and 1 16-inch suitcase, all in there at the same time. Quite impressive, much bigger than that on a BMW X5, 616 litres of space. And you get more space under the boot floor as well, and a deeper pocket here at the back. Now on the more expensive versions of this car that have the electronic backrests or the back seats there, you get switches in the back here where you can slide those seats all the way forwards or backwards and fold them down electronically as well. We don't get those in our car, but all cars, because they get the air suspension, do come with 2 switches here that allow you to lower the suspension in case this load height is a little bit too high for you. I have to say, good height for nappy changes this. As you know, I am a dad, so I like to point out those little things. So it's a big useful space, that nice Nice amount of room. You can fold those rear seats down, as I mentioned. You get top tethers in there and things like that. Not entirely sure how much space there is once you've folded everything down, but very, very spacious. Good looking car. Given the creative talent at Zeekr, I have to say, the interior of the 007 did feel like it was a bit too bland for my liking. Bit of a letdown, too much like the Tesla Model 3. Especially compared to the X, which of course had loads of different kind of visual quirks, the screen that could slide across, the fridge you could remove, the zero gravity front seat, the pet park in the back, so your dog could lie on the floor instead of on the seats. They were interesting features, and the 007 didn't have any of that stuff. Glad to say the 7X has corrected all of that again. This is a very visually appealing interior and a very interesting one. Got some very cool features in the back that I'm going to show you, and some cool ones up here at the front as well. First, I'm going to talk about the overall feeling. It does feel very premium in here. Got a lot of leather up there on top of the dashboard. All the surfaces are soft. The only hard plastic is at the back of the cushion, at the back of the door pockets there, and at the bottom half of the dashboard. But everything else feels very nice. Got metal touch materials on here with a wave pattern on them, very similar to that on the back of the 007 that kind of reflected the tail lights on that car. They look very nice. It's also replicated here in the ambient lighting as well, which goes all around the car. You can change the color different in the front and the back. Of course, I'm showing you this car in the white interior with the grey over the top. Our test car has a grey interior, but this is more interesting, so I'm going to show you this one. This goes very nicely, by the way, with this 1.35 square metre panoramic roof, which does come with an electronic sun blind that blocks out the sun completely. So if you live in hot places, you're going to enjoy that. Your family is going to appreciate keeping you nice and cool. But yeah, what else have we got? We've got quite a few screens, of course. We've got our DIN display here, which is nicely shaped to fit in that kind of cavity there and inside your steering wheel. We've got a heads-up display. Don't know the exact size of that, but all I can tell you is it's big enough, it's bright enough, it's very, very clear, so it doesn't really matter what the size is. I'm going to say probably about 35 inches, given what Geely brand cars tend to use in them. In the middle, we do have a 16-inch 3K screen, runs on the Snapdragon 8295 processor. This is the biggest screen that I've seen in a Zeekr, by the way, apart from the 40-odd inch screen in the back of the Glory Edition MPV. What I do like about Zeekr's system is you get a toolbar down the left side here for easy access functions, and you can customize that to put in the functions that you want in there. You also, of course, get your toolbar across the bottom for your vents, your fan speed, and your heated and ventilated and massage seats as well. This car does come with heated, ventilated massage seats as standard in the front, and I believe you can get all three of those in the back as well on the higher versions of this car. The seats by themselves, by the way, very comfortable, 14-way adjustable here in the front. You do get base cushion extension, yes, and you get some tilt angle adjustment. Maybe not as much tilt angle as I would like, but overall the driving position is good. You sit fairly high up, as you would expect in an SUV. They are comfortable enough. They're not really, the side bolster's not really that supportive. You don't really feel like you're squeezed into place with these seats, but they are squidgy, nice and comfortable, not too bad. Elsewhere, we've got a 21 speaker sound system. You'll see these speakers dotted all over the car, in the doors, top of the dashboard, they're all over basically. 2,160 watts of output on those, 7.1.4 surround sound, so you can enjoy movies properly inside the car, as people in China like to do. Would they like to do that abroad is another question. You can enjoy it on this screen or on another one in the back that I'll talk to you about when we get there. We do get a bit of physical switchgear in this car. We get our kind of switches here under the screen, one for your mode selection. You can open and close the boot lid as well. Kind of a roller wheel here that you can press to start and stop your music and change the volume. Customizable button there, and a button for your electronic glove box as well, which you can lock in the system. Should mention, by the way, the system also comes with Zeekr's AI, so it's a bit like ChatGPT. You can talk to it, she'll answer questions, give you tour guides, all that kind of stuff as well. That storage space, one of 33, I believe, in this car. I haven't been able to count all 33 of them, but that's what they say there are. So they're all over. In the doors here, you get a little pocket where you can fit pens, chewing gum or something like that in the armrests of the door. You get a big space under here with twin USB-C sockets. You get cup holders in here. What I like about these is you can actually fold them away to give you a nice kind of empty space here, and you can open them individually if you just want one or two cup holders. So that's really cool. Same kind of suede sliding cover on here that you get on the 007. The hatch in the middle here does open both ways, like on a Neo. So in here you get quite a deep pocket, very deep down there, extra storage space there as well. Interestingly, there is a switch in here and a switch at the back, which suggests you can take this module out. I'm not sure why you would want to do that, because it's not a cooling module, it's not a fridge module. But it does make me think that Zeekr might be thinking of putting a fridge in this car, same as they had on the Zeekr X. Let's stay tuned. I want to see if that actually happens, because there's no other reason why you would want to take this out, as far as I can see. But yeah, we do get two 50-watt wireless chargers. They are ventilated, of course, so that's good. Keep your phone nice and cool in there. But yeah, apart from that, you do get electric door release buttons as well. So on the higher end models of this car, all the doors are electric release. You can close them like that, press your foot on the brake, and the door comes back in again. Of course, no one else has a brake, so they have to kind of press the button to make the door close on theirs. But yeah, it's a lovely interior, very uplifting, very visually appealing, stylish, looks very good, and more interesting features in the back. As I mentioned in the front, Zeekr has packed a lot into the back of the 7X. A lot of useful features, some family friendly, some luxury friendly. First of all though, we do have class leading legroom in here. The most legroom of any car in this class. That includes the BMW X5, which they have kind of benchmarked this against. You also get, by the way, class leading headroom in the front and in the back as well. See, no problem here for headroom, loads of space. Now, admittedly, I have moved this seat further forwards. The reason I've done that is because I can do this. Watch, my leg rest now starts to lift up, and if I put back my backrest, I can actually recline and slide out like that. So this seat is called what they call a sofa-y, apparently. So you can recline to about 135 degrees here, leg rest lifts up. Of course, if the front seat is a bit closer, not really easy to kind of find the leg room, but at least your kids can chill out in the back if they really want to. Put that leg rest back down again, and once the seat goes backwards, it actually increases the recline angle as well. But these seats on the higher end versions are electronic. They do come with a 250mm rail, so you can actually move the seats forwards and backwards to create more space in the back if you want. Or of course, you can just change your recline angle and have a bit more recline on here as well. So again, loads of space, loads of comfort in the back of the 7X. If you don't get the electronic rear bench, what you do get instead is two trays under the rear seats, a la Renault Scenic from 1997. So you can pull out these trays, you've got more space in there for kids' toys and things like that. You also, in this armrest here, get the functionality of a 6-inch screen, and on this 6-inch screen you can adjust loads of different things. You can change the temperature of your air conditioning in the back. You can do your heating, ventilation and massage on these rear seats. You can play your music, and you can change the ambient lighting here in the back as well into different colours like that. It's a nice little feature there. You also get a bit of space there. No cup holder. Oh, you do. There you go. 2 cup holders on the end of the headrest there. On the lower versions, you don't get the same stuff. You just get an armrest with a pair of cup holders and a bit of space in there. Other features. Check this out. Press this button here. Again, a feature on the higher end versions of this car. You get a nice sturdy tray there for doing your homework on if you're a kid. And if you need a bit of extra support, you get a 13.5-inch 2.5K screen as well. You can watch TV, films, you can access your radio, you can do karaoke, you can do AI in there as well. So a lot of nice cool features in there, all that stuff built into these little screens. Make the most of that 21 speaker sound system, which again, you can see the speakers all over the car here in the back. Another great feature for families. Hold down the window button and up pops a window shade, a sun blind. So you can keep your kids nice and cool in the back of the car, together with that sun blind on the panoramic roof up there as well. And you may have noticed, just up here, we have a safety guard camera. So actually what this does, down here, we have our Isofix seat mountings and a plug in the middle. You can actually plug in your baby seat into the car, and together with this camera, it will monitor things like your child's heart rate and temperature and stuff like that. So your kids can be safer in the back of the car. And also it can just remind you if you've left your kid in the car on a hot day and gone off to the shops, for example, make sure that you haven't done that. So again, nice little safety feature for families there. You get ventilation up here in the back. As I said, loads of room, a bit more space under there as well, and nice little kind of leather pockets on the back of the seat. So yeah, very impressive rear seat on this. The one thing I would say we're missing is the fridge, but maybe it's going to come in the future. Let's see. Very spacious, as I said, though, very comfortable, super luxurious in here. My wife said it's the same comfort as a Li Auto. That's good enough for me. Now the driving part of this video is going to be in 2 sections. The first part, we're going to do the on-the-road driving, because that's where this car is going to spend the vast majority of its time. Let's be honest, this is a glamour SUV. It's a good-looking SUV that's designed to carry families around urban areas on normal roads. But Zeekr believe, and they're brave enough to let us try this, that it's actually pretty decent off-road as well. And they've given us the license to have a go on a Land Rover Experience Centre. in this car. So hang tight, that part of the review is coming after this section here. Now, one of the reasons why Zeekr is confident enough to do that is because this car comes with air suspension that has up to 70 millimeters of adjustability, which gives you a maximum ground clearance of 230 millimeters. We also get CCD, which is Zeekr's version of continuous damping control. And on the road, its job is to iron out the bumps and make things nice and smooth, nice and comfortable. You can adjust that in the system. You can put it into sport mode, which makes it a bit more rigid, or you can put it into comfort mode, which makes it much more soft. Gets rid of all the bumps on this concrete road that we're driving on today here in Guangdong province. Now, we also get a lot of other adjustability in here. You can adjust your ride height, as I mentioned. You can adjust your steering feel to make it more sporty or lighter. You can adjust your brake regeneration. We've got it on the maximum regen now. I'll lift off the throttle. Doesn't really slow down that much. We are going downhill at this moment in time, but doesn't really slow down that much. So it's not super strong, the brake regen. You can of course put it in eco, comfort and sport modes as well. You also get off-road mode, snow and all of that into there as well. The steering, even on sport mode, not super sporty. It doesn't get really loads of heft, doesn't get super heavy. But I would say it's a good compromise actually for the vast majority of people that are going to want to drive this car. They want a bit of extra feel. They don't want to feel like they're fighting the car every day. So it's a good blend, I would say. I personally would like a little bit more heft in my steering, but it's absolutely fine. The acceleration, however, is quite different. So we're doing 60 now. Let's do 60. We're going uphill, pin the throttle, and it pulls. It really, really pulls. We've got the dual motor version of this car, which comes with a 165 kilowatt motor on the front axle, 310 kilowatt motor on the rear axle, basically the same setup as the dual motor 007 Saloon. That will give us 710 Newton meters of torque, 475 kilowatts in total. So it's fast enough. It'll do 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 3.8 seconds. Again, not quite as fast as the 007, but plenty fast enough for an SUV and quite a bit more punchy than a Li Auto L6, for example, which has similar amounts of power, I believe. So yeah, it's fast. And it also rides really well. So this car, despite being about the same size as a Li Auto L6, most of the Li Autos really quite boaty. You feel a lot of roll in them when you're driving. This one, you definitely don't. This one absolutely stays flat nearly the whole time. It's one of the first things that you realize about it when you're driving. It's really, really good. And combined with the sport steering, it's got just the right amount of feel. It does feel very, very pleasant to drive. I can't deny it. It's a good driving car. You can also get a rear drive motor version of this with just the 310 kilowatts on the rear axle, and that will probably be the base version of this car. The base version starts at just 239,900 RMB, so quite a bit cheaper than a Li Auto L6. The most expensive version, they say, will cost less than 300,000 RMB, which is quite impressive. They're not going for a full Kung Fu edition of this like the 007, kind of the sporty version. That's why they can keep the most expensive version under 300,000. That's going to make it super competitive in this market. With this space, this driving experience, that's a very, very good price, under 300,000, and you get a lot of kit for that money as well. Now, in terms of the batteries, you get a choice of two, and Zeekr batteries are, of course, very interesting. You may well have heard of the Golden Brick battery. That is a 75 kilowatt hour battery, LFP, self-developed by Zeekr, and it's currently the fastest charging mass production car battery in the world at 10 to 80% in just 10.5 minutes. A 5-minute charge will get you 2 hours of driving at high speed. So if you're on the fence about electric cars, if you think they take too long to charge, this car might make you think twice. Now, admittedly, that's 5.5C charging speeds, and you do need a charging pile that can support 5.5C charging speeds. Most countries don't have so many of those. China's got a few more than most, but that is what it's capable of. The smaller battery, the 75 kilowatt hour battery, that'll do 605 kilometers of range on the CLTC cycle. The larger battery is a 100 kilowatt hour battery, the Qilin battery, NMC from CATL. That will charge 10 to 80% in 11.5 minutes. So it's probably the second fastest charging battery in the world. And it will get you 584 kilometers of range in just 15 minutes of charging, in just the time it takes to go to the bathroom and get yourself a coffee at the motorway service station. That's pretty impressive. Charging speeds very, very quick on Zeekr models. That one will get you 780 kilometers of range on the CLTC cycle. That's the one we've got in our car today. We've driven, and I took these measurements earlier, 204 kilometers today. The range went down by 287. That's a 71% efficiency rate. As you can see, we are in the mountains, so a lot of this has been going up and down hills all the time. The middle part was on the motorway, so I think that's pretty fair, given that we've had the aircon on. We've been driving pretty solidly for about 4 hours. So yeah, 71% efficiency, that's your real world range for those that asked about it before this video came out. Hope you enjoyed that. So yeah, a very good car to drive on the road. Let's go and check out its off-road ability. So in this part of the video, we're going to take the 7X off-road. I've got a couple of guys here from Zeekr with me to guide us around this off-road course. We're going to try and make use of the air suspension, which has up to 70 millimeters of adjustability in it. And at the highest setting, which we've got it on right now, it has a ground clearance of 230 millimeters. So basically, as and when we get to different parts down this route, I'll talk to you about what we're doing and I'll show you and tell you what it's like. All right, so in this first test, we're going to be going over two pretty tight humps, I would say. The second one I think is even tighter than the first one. I don't know if you can see this on the camera. You can see, obviously it's a bit of kind of a wider view here. These first two are the ones that we can take. So we'll go over them quite gently. And there's no scraping at all there. And the third one is a little bit too tight. So we're going to come off on the second one. And at this point, we're using the direction control. So we actually have one wheel locked when the wheel is up in the air there. And then at this stage next up, you can hear a few parking sensor beeps around us. So we've got quite a complex system here. We've got to go kind of down, sharp dip down the left side here, across kind of a little brook. And you can see the car in front of us, they're doing a test there. So they've got their rear wheels trying to find traction on these slippery rocks. We kind of got mud on the right side and then a dip here on the left side. So we're going to kind of really be testing out the kind of flexibility of the car here. Ooh, there we go, let's just try and get over that bump there. Gently turn it right down here. A bit more to the right side. There we go. Let's just gently make it over here. So far, not hearing any scrapes under the car, which is good. Traction control's doing a little bit of work, which is good. And there we go. And up next, we have our kind of a angled ramp here. So we're going to go up onto the ramp on the left side. You can see a little bit of an example of what's going on in front of us via the car up there. So I'm not sure entirely what angle this is. But there you go. Let's get our car nice and high up this angle. There you go. Wow, so I think the angle's probably like this. Not sure if the camera's on super steady mode or not and keeping us straight. But that was good. That worked out all pretty fine as well. It's doing really well. This is like the stairs. You can see the rocks are layered like stairs up here. Let's just see how well it goes up this one. That seems absolutely fine. No problem at all. It's pretty brave actually of Zeekr to take us off-road in what is technically termed as a sports utility vehicle. Now we're getting to some pretty steep stuff here. It's a bit soggy as well. So we're going to see how the traction control does appeal. Just wait till that car goes a little bit further up there. Got some pretty slimy, oh, look at some big rocks up here. Pretty slimy looking stones. And look at that, absolutely fine. Not hearing anything underneath the chassis at the moment. So the ground clearance really working an absolute treat. Now we've got a pretty steep hill here. Look at this one with some knobbly bumps on the left side and a slick one on the right side. We'll take this a little bit easy. Now you can hear the traction control. So a little gentle bit of application on the throttle. You can hear the back left wheel sliding there. There we go, look at that. Now I'm going to have to revert to the camera now because I can't see over the edge of the bonnet. Tell you what, this is a good route this. This is a very nice route. Okay, so now we're going to take on what looks like a kind of a set of wooden sleepers. And we have CCD on this, which is not the same as CDC, it's a little bit different. Normally, it is used to kind of keep the vibrations out on the road. In this, the damping effect is apparently much larger to keep things more stable off-road. And now we've got kind of like transverse lumps here. So we've got a big lump on the left side, followed by a big lump on the right side. And what this does is it lifts the car up onto 3 wheels. So gentle throttle application. There we go. Another one on the left side there, and a final one on the right side. I'll just slow down a minute because they're trying to get the camera guy in the car in front. So I don't want to get too close to him. There you go. Just felt the car drop down there. There's a mirror up there. You can see a front left wheel, giving a bit of traction control there. So we're now pivoting up. Wow, that was cool. So the maximum depth in this pool, and I think it's at this end, is 600 millimeters. Let's just take it slowly down the hill. I'm going to go with nose first down here. There we go. And then we'll just plow on through this in one consistent motion. You can see actually the camera's going below the water there. That tells you how deep it is. It gets a little bit more shallow at the other end. And we'll just drift out the other end there. There's a nice drone filming guy there on the side. Now we've got ourselves some more slopey roads, but this time they're kind of I forget what the word is now, but they're kind of on an adverse angle, so we've got to turn with the slopey road. So you can see our slopey road up here. It's like a nice tight angle up here, just to make things a bit more challenging for the car. Keep it tight up here, and then drift it back out to this side, so we don't beach ourselves on the end. There we go. Okay, so now we're going to take on a sustained hill with some pretty sludgy looking surfaces going on here, and it's quite steep, so we'll basically just leave the traction control to do this. Make sure you got the rocks. You can just feel the car just gently sliding around underneath. it's like dancing on ice. So we're going to stick to the right side because there's a bit of a kind of a gully down the left side there. Just gently press the throttle. Well, the car's really doing all the work. It's making this super simple. It's not even a problem at all. And I don't even think we've got off-road tyres on. I think we've just got normal tyres on here. So there you go. We've finished the off-road part. Now we're just going to head back to base. Got to say, very impressed with that. There's a lot of things that I would not have expected this car to be able to get across, but obviously that adjustable suspension on the highest setting, the extra ground clearance, the traction control worked really easily. As an EV, it just glided over everything with no fuss. Really impressive off-road stuff. So that's it for our review of the Zeekr 7X, a car that I believe is not only going to be quite successful here in China in a very competitive segment, but I believe it will also do very well abroad as well, because this car is right up the street of Europeans and Australians. It's got some good off-road ability. It's got a massive cabin in there, very premium materials, a lot of family-friendly features as well. Compare this, for example, to a Mercedes-Benz EQE SUV. It's no contest, and bear in mind this one also comes with that brilliant super fast battery charging tech as well. It's a marvelous car. I'm almost getting tired of saying that Chinese cars are good now, but this is yet another example of Chinese brands doing a brilliant job at electric cars. Thank you very much for watching. If you do, thank you for subscribing. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up so more people can see the great cars coming out of China. And as ever, we'll catch you next time.